What do you consider the perfect college experience? What does that mean to you? Does it mean having fun and going out, or studying to ensure that 4.0? How about a mixture of both? We interviewed some NKU students who told us what having the best college experience meant to them.
So what study habits do you kind of recommend for your students?
Sure. So I think the number one thing is, and a big difference between high school and college, is that a lot of students don't realize how much time they need to set aside for studying. So even though you're in class for a shorter period of time than you are in high school, it's really important for pretty much for every hour that you're in class, you should be devoting 2 to 3 hours outside of class.
Okay, and how do you avoid a homework overload?
I try to go to the library whenever I can in my free time, and I do a lot of homework in my dorm and right before I go to work.
How do you avoid a homework overload?
It really comes down to time management. It's not to work on things that are urgent, but to work on things that are more important at the time.
How do you avoid a homework overload?
You know, sometimes I try and go in between classes to go down to the library. If I have like an hour and a half or 2 hours in between classes, I'll try and come to the library and get a lot of homework done there before I have to go to work later.
How many credit hours are you taking this semester?
I'm taking 15.
How do you avoid having a homework overload?
You have to learn that there needs to be a balance between social life, but outside of class, and with homework. So like one of my problems has been like being half there while I hang out with friends and doing homework. So it doesn't do justice to my grades or my friends. So it's important to set aside time for each slot. So like with taking it 15 credit hours, you probably have about 15 to 30 hours of homework every week. And like that's a lot to do for anybody.
So do you work?
I do. I work at education at work.
How many hours do you usually work a week?
I work 17 hours.
And how do you balance your classes and your work?
Considering that I work 17 hours when I'm in class 15, it does mean that I have a lot of late nights with homework especially. Like I usually don't go to bed until 1 or 2 in the morning. I've learned that it's very important to utilize the breaks in between classes. For homework, like I get a lot of stuff done like the hour before, which you shouldn't do, but it's when I'm most productive. So that's how I manage my time.
I go to all my classes during the day and I work at night, and I try to do some of my homework while I'm at work to make sure that I get all my stuff done.
How do you balance work and school?
You know, it can be hard to balance work and school sometimes because I work down at Kroger and I work about 30 hours a week most weeks, sometimes a little bit less or maybe a little bit more, but you know, but I try to come to the library and stay here pretty late most nights, so it can be kind of stressful, but you just have to find that good balance between work and school, and I think I find that pretty well.
Do you recommend being a working student?
I feel like that's something like you kind of have to feel for yourself. Like if you don't think you can handle having a job and balancing that and your grades, then I wouldn't recommend doing it. But I actually have 2 jobs. Like I said, I'm an RA on campus, and I also have a landscaping job that I do on the weekends. But neither of those take a whole ton of my time, so I'm good at balancing my grades with that, and it's not really an issue. So if it's something you can handle, I would suggest doing it because the extra money is really nice, but you don't risk your grades.
Do you live on or off of campus?
I live on campus.
And how do you think that's affected your experience, or do you recommend it?
I recommend it, and it's given like a community to be around. So people you can rely on, people you can help, people you can just have fun with, because a lot of times you can just sit there and just not know what to do it yourself. But if there's other people, you can go around and have fun and get your work done, because I know I can't do it by myself.
Do you live on or off of campus?
I live on campus. I'm actually an RA on campus.
How has living on campus affected your experience?
I really like living on campus. You know, you're right next to everything, so like you don't have to travel too far, and like the food's right there, the rec center's right there. I mean, it's pretty nice to have everything around you, so you don't have to go very far.
So you think it's made you feel more connected to NKU, or like?
Oh yeah, definitely. If I find out that something's going on campus, it's not like I'm already home and I have to drive all the way back to campus. It's like I can go with a couple of my friends and just head on straight to whatever's going on.
Do you think that it's a positive experience to live on campus, and do you think it's made you feel more attracted to NKU as a school?
Very. It's definitely a very attractive thing about NKU, because NKU is very inclusive. They try to let everyone be a part of everything. They always give you a bunch of things to do that are going to have a ton of people there, and they want you to create a good connection with people, so you either have people to go to, or even be able to further that, like if you have a job, able to know how to connect to people.
Right.
How would you recommend to have a good housing experience?
I had a really good experience. I went in with 3 random roommates, and I ended up really liking them, and I think it's a good experience to have new people that you don't know.
How would you recommend having a good housing experience?
Well, especially for your first year on campus, I would try and match up with someone that you know, because it can be a little bit scary when you walk in the first day when you have some random roommates. I mean, not that it's a bad thing, and it could be a really beneficial thing, but I think that for most people it'd be easier if you went in with someone you knew.
So what kind of activities are you involved in outside of school?
I am in at NKU. I'm in the Northern Chorale, which is a mixed choir, and as well as chamber choir, which is the same kind of deal, but it's a little more in depth.
How do you think that being involved in extracurricular activities has shaped your experience?
Well, it's pretty much been my entire experience. I get to go to concerts, I get to perform, I get to watch others perform. It's like just constant music filling my life. It's all I wanted.
What is your school involvement?
I'm in a sorority. I'm in Phi Sigma Sigma.
What is your school involvement?
I'm in a fraternity in Theta Chi. I'm a theater major, so I try and participate in some of the activities in that. And I'm also a part of the intramural tennis team, so I go to stuff for that a couple times a week.
How has your heavy involvement influenced your college experience?
It's helped me create better connections and feel like I truly am making a difference, and I'm growing as a better person.
When I first came to college, I was in my little cocoon, and then joining an organization really helped me come out of my cocoon and spread my wings and fly.
How do you think being social enhances your experience at college?
Being social at college, it definitely helps because it exposes you to a lot of different people that you may not have known back when you were, say, in high school. You get exposed to all these new people, all these new cultures, these different lives, people who grew up in a totally different world than you did. You get to experience all these new things, all this new stuff, and it makes you different as a person. It makes you more whole.
In conclusion, to have the best college experience possible, a student should do these 4 things. Decide where you want to live, manage your time, be social, and get involved. Thank you for watching.